What's up, everybody? It's Blake.
I'm Jonah.
And welcome to the first ever SCS Chatroom.
So because it's our first one, we went a little bit long.
Yeah, we did, but we did cut it into two equal-sized pieces, and they're both out right now, so you can watch them back to back.
So the reason it went a little long is because we have some very special guests today. The first is my wife, Laura.
And the second is my girlfriend, Hannah.
So after the podcast, stay tuned for what's upcoming for the HSM and the MSM.
You're not going to want to miss it. Check it out.
What's up, SCS? My name is Blake.
And I'm Jonah.
And this is the SCS Chatroom. First one ever. This is crazy.
This is a big deal. So
We got a talk show now.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll go pretty well. I think it will.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we did chat room during the summer a little bit, just talking to students about different topics, whether it be anxiety. What else did we talk about for chat room?
Oh, gosh. We've talked about dealing with medical issues with Tyler. That was a
Yes.
great one. If you haven't seen that one, it's on our YouTube. Go check it out.
We had some great stuff that from SCS Live. If you didn't actually get to check that out, you can also check that out on our Simple Church Students YouTube.
It's something we've been missing, and we're like, how can we bring that back to a different capacity for COVID times? More entertainment out there for y'all.
So we'll be releasing these every single Monday, starting with the first Monday of every month.
First Monday of every month is going to be a long-form podcast, like 20 to 30 minutes, and that's why this week we've got guests to kick it off. Really cool. Guests we're kind of partial to. We like these people.
Do we want to go ahead and introduce them now? Because we already pointed them out.
All right, well, there they are. This is
Anyway.
Hannah.
Hello.
Who are you?
I'm Blake's girlfriend.
And
And?
Pat, what else do you want me to say?
I don't know,
Pastor's daughter?
yeah,
No.
you're also
Yes.
pastor's daughter. But
You're more than just my girlfriend. What do you do?
The missionary intern.
Yeah.
That
You
works
should have said,
too.
what do you do?
I
Not
don't
who
know.
are you?
This is my first podcast. I read somewhere it takes like 40 podcasts to get really good at it, so this is kind of,
Yeah, so 39 more after this. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
So,
we'll come back for 40, and then it'll be, yeah.
and then I also have a special guest near and dear
Hannah?
to my heart, and we live together, so it makes sense. But anyway, Laura, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
So-
And we brought them on because we know that there's nothing that these two love more than putting a camera in their face, putting a mic in front of them, saying, just talk about whatever.
All of our Enneagram friends, we basically right now have 3 6s and a 3. So it's interesting. It's a great cup.
Yeah.
Are you a 6, Blake?
He's more of a seven
Seven?
wing.
My
7
7
wing
is
6?
definitely out. I got that Jesus
Yeah.
juice right here, and it's definitely speaking words to me.
All right, that makes sense. And then every other Monday of the month, so not the first, but the rest of them, we'll be
Yeah.
actually having chat bites.
What? What is that, Jonah?
So for chat bites, what we're doing is just 5 to 10 minutes or around 10 minutes, just little small bits instead of having a giant podcast. So for February, what are we planning, Blake?
We've got a lot of stuff about relationships because that's a lot of, people have questions about relationships, especially middle schoolers and high schoolers. You're first kind of starting to think about that, and you've got a lot of questions about that. So we thought, how can we address that? So every Monday going forward for the rest of the month of February, we got a Chat Bites podcast. It's going to be like 5 to 10 minutes, totally doable, and it's going to be up on our YouTube, our Instagram. You're going to be able to find it on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere.
Sweet, I didn't even know we could get to those platforms.
That's
so.
crazy. We can. Oh.
Awesome. So our chat bites, I think our first chat bite coming next Monday is on pickups. So how to start a relationship well.
That's awesome. That's a
And-
hard question.
Yeah. And our second one is on makeups. And then the last one, we'll be talking about breakups. Which
That's
is
awesome.
less awesome. Breakups aren't that fun.
Awesome.
But anyway, we have brought on our special guest today so that we can just talk about dating from both a manly and stupid perspective, but also like the real perspective,
Yeah.
aka that of a woman. So anyway.
Because if we're going to be talking about dating, we kind of need both sides because there's two sides to every relationship, right? Hopefully.
And I think as we're about to talk about later, everyone makes mistakes, and generally men's are worse, as we'll find out. Anyway.
Well, that brings us on to the beginning where dating is weird. Let's just go ahead and start. Hannah,
Oh.
is dating weird?
Dating is weird.
Yeah.
Laura?
Dating's fun,
Oh, dating's fun.
but weird.
Wait,
But weird.
Yeah, we had something going. And see,
So-
I'm just kidding.
If we talk about dating culture, firstly, we don't exactly have it all together. Like Laura and I are married for 2.5 years.
And me and Hannah have been dating today. I don't want to date this podcast necessarily, but on the time of shooting this podcast, it's been 7 months and 11 days.
Oh
Aw.
my gosh.
Didn't think I'd remember, do you? And
We've
like
been together for how many years?
30
5 and
minutes.
a half years.
And 20 months.
20.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't have a day anymore. I used to, all right?
But I think it's gonna be interesting because we're kind of still figuring out how to date. We've been dating for a number of months, and so now we've kind of got to get the trend of it. But you guys will be able to speak to what that looks like on the other side as well.
Absolutely.
sure.
And so we're still early on, and I know there's so many more couples out there, especially like most of y'all's parents.
Yeah.
But we just want to start out with what we do know, and we're here just to talk a little bit about that.
So kind of to open that up, I think we were going to ask, what is the worst thing about dating culture?
So it's kind of annoying sometimes, but what's the worst? Let's be honest.
I think other people's expectations, or they hold you to a higher standard,
Ooh, pastor's
is
daughter knows that.
which is aggravating. Seriously though, because you always you'll mess up. You're just now starting. You know.
Yeah.
But everybody looks at you and they expect so much more.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of an unfair expectation for somebody who's just now starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the worst part about dating is if you're not dating anyone, something's wrong with you. Like you have to be in
Yeah.
a relationship to be okay.
Especially in the
true.
South.
Yes.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's thick in the South.
For sure.
That is
But the
true.
weird part, especially like coming from, different churches, because I feel like every church has a different kind of dating culture. And in the past where I've come from, it's like, it's almost frowned upon. It's almost like they expect you to wait to date until you're ready for marriage, which is super backwards and counterintuitive.
I can see that, and it's because sometimes the first person you date is not going to be the right person. But I would say that you do want to be careful with, don't just go. My problem with dating culture is how much whiplash there is. Like whenever you're watching daters, especially in student ministry, sometimes you see someone like going from guy to guy to guy to guy, or girl to girl to girl to girl, and it's like right off the bat, and like you're not going to find the right person by it's not a buffet. Like you're not going to be like, all right, so I've tried literally dated every single person in school, and finally I found the right one for me. Like,
Yeah.
take some time, choose
That's
the
not how
right
it works.
person.
And that makes me think that they probably don't have it. They don't have themselves figured out, and they're trying to rush into dating. That's another no-no.
So we're already talking about dating, but what is dating to you? Like, what is dating?
That is a good question.
Don't look at me.
Okay, well, I don't want to monopolize conversation because we're dating, and I want to,
Aw, how
Yeah.
sweet.
yeah.
Hmm.
But when I look at you and I think about dating, I think that you were my friend first, and then you kind of became my best friend, and then we became EBs, which you want to tell them what that means?
It means exclusive buddies.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we
for
were EBs
everyone else
for
out there. We were
not
EBs for
that long, but enough time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ebbs.
Yeah, we were EBs.
Ebbs.
And it was great. But really, the person you end up, when you think about it, so you're friends and you become best friends and you become almost exclusive best friends, then you date and then you're engaged and then you're married. So really, all a marriage is that's just your best friend that you pick to be with for the rest of your life. And I think that's really cool.
And promise to be with, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
And
course.
So I think we're in that stage right now. And so, I think that I would say dating is, we'll get your perspective, but I think dating is it's basically figuring out who it is that you're going to get married to. And so it may be the person you're dating right then, but also it's trying to figure out who is it that you want to spend the rest of your life with, because you don't get to just go off and do your own thing for the rest of your life. If you are married, you're with that person forever. So, or we want you to be.
Yeah, I agree. I think you should date to marry, but that doesn't mean you can't get to know other people. And when you're dating, like Jonah said, you need to find out if you're compatible and you want to spend the rest of your life with that
Yeah.
person, because you don't want to make a mistake.
For sure.
So our next, what we want to talk about is a rough one, because, and I don't want to talk about mine yet, but anyway, it's what is your worst dating mistake / experience?
Gee.
I don't really know if I have one. I haven't
Really?
dated a lot. I've
Yeah.
only
Good.
ever had one previous relationship, but
That is good.
I've really kind of only had one, but I almost don't want to even count it because it was so young that it didn't really even make any sense. And so it was we're okay, we're in a relationship, right? And it's kind of especially before you can drive, there's not much to that. It's just you go to the same places coincidentally. And so for me, it was at church. You're all right, we're here and we're in a relationship. So that means we kind of sit in proximity to each other, and that's kind of it. Laura's laughing.
I have a story about that.
Okay, you know exactly what I'm
Yes,
talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I had a boyfriend in 7th grade. Have I told you about this?
Uh-oh.
Tennis guy or the other one?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay.
Anyways, we were dating, but it was just like a texting relationship. You didn't really talk in person, but we were in the same youth group, so we saw each other at church. And I remember he was like, I want to give you your first kiss. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to. Do you know about this? And so we went.
He's going to bless you with it. Give it to you. Your first kiss. That's so awful.
So anyways, we went to this event and everyone was like, are they going to do it? And then we run into the church and we
'Cause
go to the
everybody
racquetball
knows.
room
Oh,
and
racquetball,
we
not tennis.
literally stand 10 feet apart and we're just staring at each other. And so I just leave. I'm like, I'm not doing this. So I was like, thank you, Jesus, that was not my first kiss. But later that night, our youth pastor at the time, he posted on Facebook and said, you know, you failed as a youth pastor when 2 of your 7th graders try to get their first kiss. And I was like,
Oh.
everyone knows
Oh
my
my
business.
gosh.
But that's the thing about a small church is that everybody knows.
Yes, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you not know about this?
I didn't know the last part. Like, I didn't know that post. Ooh.
That's
I would
so-
post that in a secret youth minister, like, group that we're in, not in front of everyone in
Yeah.
the church.
There's a follow-up post like, did not mean to post that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
did not mean to text that. Nope, my bad.
Yeah.
So for worst dating mistake, firstly, you jerks. All of you are like, yeah, I barely dated, and I'm like, I'm a horrible person.
Yes.
I dated like 3 people, but anyway, like, not a. It's
I think that's
stupid.
pretty average, really.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
yeah.
Some people is like 30, and those are the people we talked about with Whiplash. But anyway, let's not date around. But anyway, for me, worst mistake. All right, so Laura and I had been dating for maybe just like 7 months at the time, I think. And we worked at Pine Cove, which is a Christian camp for in Tyler, Texas. And so
I went
we
there.
actually worked at. Oh, I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah.
Did you know?
He lived here before he moved.
I didn't know we went there though.
Yeah.
But
I went there a couple times.
that's actually really cool. But Laura and I worked, and we worked at separate camps. But for a time, for half the summer, Laura didn't work at camp, so she just lived in Longview. And so at Pine Cove, we would have 2 weeks that are special, or no, sorry, 1 week that's special where you would get to be on work crew and you would have a night off. Otherwise, you only get like Saturday night to Sunday afternoon, and like that's it. You have like 8 hours to sleep in peace without children being everywhere. And so we are like, hey, Laura, you should come and we'll have a date on our night off. And so we planned it. It was cute. We have the Foundry in Tyler is the coffee shop, and it's awesome. It's a great date place. And so I'm like, Laura, meet me there on Thursday. And so we're doing the work. We're working during the week. And on Thursday, I have ADHD. I did not take medicine back then. And I had a moment on Thursday where I was like, oh no, our day off is on Friday. And I remembered that. And we're not allowed to have our phones. And Laura lives 45 minutes away from Tyler.
Oh,
and so
no.
she ended up coming. And I didn't know that. I didn't remember that until like it was so late that Laura had driven over there. I had to beg my senior counselor. I was like, man, I need to use my phone. I need permission to use my phone. And he's like, dude, why? Like, you can't. I'm like, I scheduled a date tonight thinking it was tomorrow night. And he's like, oh, bro.
Please use your phone.
And I had to call her, and it was awful. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot sometimes. It was a mistake. It was stupid.
Oh, that makes
Yeah.
me
Mistake.
so nervous, even you
Yeah.
saying that.
Laura chimes in, yes, he is.
I waited there for an hour,
Oh.
and then he called me, and so I just went home. I was very mad.
That's like a 3-hour round trip, huh?
2.
2. Whew, that's a tough
He messed
one.
up. That's a tough
Who
one.
done
Well.
messed up? It was rough.
The most awkward thing ever happened one Christmas. Our church used to go all out on any kind of holiday, Easter, Christmas, whatever. And so we built a big old tree, and what we were going to do is we were going to have like all the youth people and then the worship team on the tree, and it was really, really cool. It looked awesome. And me and this girl, Penelope, had been talking for some time at this point, and I was like, I was feeling the night, feeling Christmas, and our care pastor launched into a really, like, everybody's fired up, and like people are crying in the audience. We're like, oh man, Christmas, God. And he launches into a prayer, and everybody like looks around, and we're all like feeling it. And then I'm like, I'm going to hold people's hands. And I hold my buddy Josiah's hand. He's on this side. And I reach out and I hold her hand because we've been talking for a few months, but she thought I was just trying to hold her hand. And so she didn't hold my hand. And I was just standing up there holding my buddy's hand. And so I was like, and I just put my hand down. And so it was just me and him. And we're like not close to each other. So we're like reaching out and holding hands. And It is
Burn.
the most awkward. I'm like, I don't want to let go of his hand, but I was like, "Zuh." And so my hands started sweating. And so we're just standing there holding hands. And then the prayer angel's like, amen. And I was like, okay, down. And then afterwards, somebody came up to me and they showed me a video like, this is the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. No.
Oh.
And then the pastor comes up and he asks like, so what's the deal with you and Josiah holding hands on the thing? It's like, do you want to talk about that? And I was like, whoa, no. It's nothing like that. And he was like, okay, I was just making sure because that was very awkward and super weird. I was like, yes, I know. And it was in front of like, we just built a mezzanine. So it was like 900 people in the building. And we were just staying up there on the top of this Christmas tree, just holding hands with my buddy. And yeah,
I
that
think
was.
your and her awkward relationship was very awkward. I think your and his relationship was way more awkward at that point.
It was. He was definitely like, bro, why are you trying to hold my hand, man? And I was like, dude, I'm just trying to win some points. Relax. But it didn't go my way. That was probably the most awkward one.
All right, the question that I know pretty much everyone probably wants to know, because like if anything starts during COVID, no one hears about it because like shut down, where everything's shut down.
Right.
So how did y'all start dating?
You want to field this one?
I'll start.
Yeah.
Well, Scott and him were really bored during quarantine. They say they were depressed. They just didn't have any company. And they decided to come fishing at our house, which he didn't want to at first. He wanted to go to Amber's.
She didn't know this till like a couple of nights ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they just kept coming over every week, like every Thursday. And we just started getting closer.
Because when I was an intern, me and Scott would go on trips all the time together to like Licata. What is it called? Anyways,
What?
Texas, different parts of Louisiana, like taking COVID relief stuff for people. And we got really close. And I had seen Hannah around. And not going to lie, I had a mega crush on her. And I was very intimidated by her. I didn't have any friends here. I was like, dude. So I was just hanging out with Scott. And he was like, dude, we need to go fishing. I was like, whatever, let's go. That sounds awesome. And he was like, so we can either go to Amber's or Justin's. And I was so intimidated by you. I was like, definitely let's go to Amber's. I do not want to do that. And so the first time we went over fishing on your dock, you know, it was just, you guys were already out in kayaks.
I was kayaking with Emma, and he was on the dock in like 102-degree heat.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That was great.
Not
We were
catching anything.
dodging like spiders because the deck was falling apart. We were like pulling splinters out. Oh, I got a big splinter on my foot, and I took out my knife. I was like, I gotta flex. I cut this splinter out like a maniac with a knife. But
Good Lord.
But yeah, and then afterwards, Scott. After that trip, that was our first fishing trip, and Scott the next time he was like, "You want to go fishing again?" Because the only thing we didn't even so much as see a fish any of the times. We went fishing like 4 times.
Never.
The only
anything.
thing I caught was felines, and that's
Oh
Man, I was
my
hoping someone was gonna
God.
say it.
Yeah.
I was ready for that.
yeah.
Oh my
But
God.
so the second time, Scott was like, "Okay, I mean, we went to Justin's. Now do you want to go to Amber's?" I was like, "No, let's go to Justin's."
Going back to Justin's.
Yeah, let's go back to Justin's house. Tell him what happened the very second time I
I
ever
thought that
came
was
over.
the first time. No, that was the second time.
Yeah.
He came over. It was like 4th of July. Not 4th of July. It was some kind of, we had like a little party at our house for something.
Shindig.
Yeah, a little get together. And we all were on the lake that day. We got home, and I have a bunch of stick and poke tattoos.
What she means by
don't
this-
do this. Don't give yourself tattoos at home. It's
Unless
not
you want an
smart.
awesome girlfriend.
No.
Because I had seen, she's got some on her ankles that she just does. And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I could give you a stick and poke tattoo." And I was like,
You asked for it. You asked
well,
for it.
I wanted one because, yeah, I had mad feelings for you. But the deal was,
So
she's like, "Yeah, I can give you a stick and poke tattoo." And I was like, "That sounds awesome." I didn't realize what that means is that she takes out this little needle that looks like it's meant to kill Native Americans, and it's got like feathers and a bunch of weird like markings on it, and it's attached to a pencil. And she gets a little vial of ink, and she goes, "Chuk, chuk, chuk," and she goes, "Bring me your ankle." And I have it. I've got a little smiley face on my ankle. But that's lesson learned, middle schoolers, high schoolers. If you want a girl to like you, let her tattoo you.
don't.
Because
Don't.
then
Don't.
No.
Do
it's in the
not.
bag.
No.
Do not.
It's in the
do
bag.
Keep
not.
it in the podcast, but we're gonna say no.
No.
Hey, man, I'm keeping it real.
So yeah, the second time he ever met me, I gave him a tattoo.
Yeah. I had bad feelings.
Thanks.
What's up, everybody, and thank you for watching the first episode of the SCS Chatroom.
You do not want to miss part 2 immediately after this.
But before we close out the show, we want to tell you about some awesome events we've got coming up in both of our ministries.
So first, for the high school ministry, we have a Super Bowl party this Sunday at the Hodges house.
And for the middle school ministry, we're going ice skating at Hirsch Coliseum this Friday.
And also, next Wednesday, we have an event for both the HSM and the MSM.
That's right, we're having family dinner at Shane's from 6 to 7:30, so do not miss it.
So if you want any more information, and especially to sign up for the family dinner, check out the show notes or the description.
And make sure to check out part 2 of the first episode of the SCS Chatroom. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.